Hello, and welcome to Cats for Sleep. To begin our journey into the world of one of the most legendary felines in history, I want to share a curious fact that often surprises those who are just meeting this breed for the first time. Did you know that every Siamese kitten is actually born as a pure, snowy white blank canvas? Their famous dark points, those elegant masks, velvet paws, and tapering tails, only begin to emerge as they experience the coolness of the world outside the womb. This occurs because of a specific genetic mutation in the tyrosinase gene, which makes their pigment production temperature sensitive. In the warmth of their mother's womb, the enzyme remains inactive, keeping their fur pale. It is only when they meet the air and their extremities cool down that the dark, beautiful colors we associate with the breed begin to manifest, a living testament to the unique biology we will explore tonight. When you look at a Siamese cat, you are not just looking at a pet. You are looking at a living piece of art defined by a high-contrast silhouette that is instantly recognizable across the globe. Their physical presence is a masterclass in feline elegance. They possess a long, lean, and muscular frame supported by very fine bones, giving them an almost ethereal, weightless quality when they move. Unlike the sturdier, more rounded shapes of many other common breeds, the Siamese stands out with its sharp, geometric lines. Their head is often described as a perfect triangle, a wedge shape, where the lines of the face taper sharply toward a narrow muzzle. At the top of that wedge, large, upright ears continue the sleek lines of the head, creating a look of constant, regal alertness that has fascinated humans for centuries. But it is the eyes that truly captivate the soul. Siamese cats possess striking, almond-shaped eyes of a deep, vivid blue. There is a fascinating bit of physics behind that color. The blue you see is not caused by traditional pigment, but by a trick of light known as Rayleigh scattering. Essentially, their eyes lack melanin in the iris and act like unpigmented windows. Short wavelength blue light is reflected back out toward the observer, while other colors are absorbed, giving their gaze an appearance that is as vast and deep as a clear afternoon sky. While they have typical feline night vision, this lack of iris pigment means they may have slightly reduced depth perception or night clarity compared to cats with darker eyes, making them just a bit more cautious as the shadows grow long. Beyond their physical beauty lies a personality that is just as distinctive and perhaps even more famous. While many cats are content to be background characters in your life, the Siamese demands a leading role. They are famously chatty, amplifying the natural feline tendency to meow as a way to communicate specifically with their human companions. They use a wide range of vocalizations, from soft, melodic chirps and trills to insistent, demanding yowls, to ensure they always get the last word in any conversation. Studies have shown that no other breed surpasses the Siamese in its ability to communicate its needs and feelings, and they learn very quickly that their voice is a powerful tool for bringing attention or food their way. This communicative nature is a direct reflection of their deep social attachment. The Siamese is often described as the ultimate follow-the-owner cat, forming bonds so intense that they often follow their people from room to room, refusing to be left out of the daily rhythm of the home. They do not tolerate isolation well. They are a breed that seeks to be in your lap, in your bed, and completely in your heart. This loyalty is backed by an impressive intelligence. Siamese cats are frequently ranked among the smartest of all breeds, capable of remembering the location of toys for long periods and learning household routines with startling speed. They are highly alert to their surroundings and will notice even the smallest changes in their environment, such as new furniture or the arrival of a guest, adjusting their behavior accordingly. As we begin this deep dive into their royal history and unique biology, imagine a Siamese cat resting nearby in the dim light of your room. See the way their slender legs and narrow chest create that graceful, elongated shape that maximizes their surface area for cooling, a relic of their tropical origins in old Thailand. They are creatures of habit and warmth, often found in the sunniest napping spot in the house, where their close-lying coat absorbs the heat they so dearly love. Tonight, we will explore why this breed has been revered in temples and cherished in palaces for centuries, and how they became one of the world's most popular companions. For now, simply breathe and let the rhythmic story of their lineage and the thought of their devoted companionship guide you into a deep, restful sleep. The history of the Siamese cat is as mysterious and beautiful as the cats themselves, stretching back hundreds of years to the heart of Southeast Asia. To understand the Siamese, we must look toward the ancient kingdom of Ayutthaya in what is now modern-day Thailand, formerly known as Siam. In these early times, the Siamese was not merely a pet, but a revered figure in society, appearing in the daily lives of monks and monarchs alike. Their presence was deeply woven into the spiritual and royal fabric of the nation, where they were historically honored as temple and palace cats. The most profound evidence of their ancient lineage is found in the Tamra Mayu, or the Treatise on Cats. These are a collection of Thai manuscripts, essentially cat poems, that date back as far as the 14th century and were transcribed through the 19th century. These manuscripts were beautifully illustrated and served as a guide to the various breeds of cats found in the region, describing which were considered auspicious or lucky. One specific translation from the Tamra Mayu describes a white cat with black ears, a black face, dark paws, and a dark tail. This cat was known as the Mayu Kayo, or the Wichan Mart, a name that translates roughly to diamond gold. This description provides an undeniable link to the modern Siamese, proving that their unique point pattern has remained a constant and cherished feature for over 600 years. In ancient Siam, these cats lived in warm, open tropical environments. Unlike the controlled indoor lives they lead today, the ancestors of the Siamese were a local land race that thrived in the temples and villages of Thailand long before formal breeding programs ever began. They were perfectly adapted to this climate. Their slim, fine-boned bodies were ideal for heat dissipation, allowing them to remain active in the humid warmth of the jungle and the city. Because they lived in such close proximity to humans in sacred spaces, they developed the social, communicative nature that we still see in the breed today. It is said that when a member of the royal family passed away, a Siamese cat was often chosen to house their soul, living out the rest of its life in a temple in the lap of luxury, cared for by monks and fed the finest foods. When Western visitors first encountered these striking animals in the late 1800s, they were immediately captivated by their unusual appearance. Because they were so frequently found in the company of the elite, early Western accounts dubbed them the royal cats of Siam. There are historical notes indicating that Siamese breeding was once under strict royal supervision, with the cats being gifted by the King of Siam to foreign dignitaries as a sign of extreme favor and respect. This royal association lent the breed an air of exotic mystery that followed them as they were eventually introduced to Europe and America. Imagine these cats moving through the ancient stone corridors of a Thai temple, their bright blue eyes contrasting against the gold-leafed statues and the vibrant greenery of the tropical courtyards. They were the silent guardians of sacred texts and the constant companions of those in power. Their survival as a distinct type of cat for so many centuries is a testament to the high regard in which they were held. As they sat in the sunbeams of a palace balcony, they were already the elegant, elongated creatures we know today, maximizing their surface area for cooling and keeping a watchful, intelligent eye on the world around them. The transition from a sacred temple dweller in the East to a beloved household companion in the West did nothing to dim their royal spirit. They carried with them the legacy of the Tamra Mayu and the prestige of the Ayutthaya palaces. As you rest tonight, think of the long journey this breed has taken, from the humid, sacred temples of old Siam to the quiet comfort of modern homes. Their history is a long, rhythmic poem that continues to be written with every purr and every devoted glance from those vivid blue eyes. They remain, as they always have been, the diamond gold cats of history, anchoring our world with their ancient, regal presence. While the Siamese cat had been a treasure of the East for centuries, its introduction to the Western world in the late 19th century was a moment of profound cultural fascination. This transition marked the beginning of a global obsession with the breed, as it moved from the quiet, sacred temples of Thailand to the bustling, prestigious cat shows of Victorian England. The journey of the Siamese to the West is not just a story of animal transport, but a story of how an exotic and mysterious creature captured the imagination of a society that was deeply intrigued by the wonders of the Orient. The first documented appearances of the Siamese in Europe occurred in the early 1870s. One of the most significant early records comes from 1871, when Siamese cats were mentioned in British Museum records and featured at the very first National Crystal Palace Cat Show in London. At the time, they were so unlike any cat the British public had ever seen that the initial reaction was one of bewilderment. Observers, accustomed to the rounder, fluffier British shorthairs and long-haired Persians, described the Siamese as an unnatural nightmare kind of cat. Their sleek, angular bodies and striking color patterns were so foreign that some early spectators even questioned if they were a different species entirely. However, that initial shock quickly transformed into intense curiosity and, eventually, a status symbol level of adoration. In 1884, a pivotal moment occurred when the British acting vice-consul in Bangkok, Edward Blencow Gould, was gifted a breeding pair of Siamese cats by the King of Siam. This pair, named Fo and Mia, was brought back to England and became the foundation for the breed's lineage in the West. When Gould's sister, Lillian Jane Rayleigh, exhibited the offspring of Fo and Mia at the Crystal Palace Cat Show in 1885, the public's fascination reached a fever pitch. These cats were no longer seen as nightmares, but as royal cats of Siam, an elite and sophisticated breed that represented the height of exotic luxury. The 1880s became a decade where the Siamese was established as the it cat of the Victorian era, prized for its rarity and its association with far-off Eastern royalty. The fascination with the Siamese during this period was deeply tied to the broader Western obsession with exoticism. In the Victorian mindset, anything from the East was imbued with a sense of mystery, spirituality, and refined taste. The Siamese cat, with its vocal nature, its piercing blue eyes, and its high contrast mask, fit this narrative perfectly. They were seen as sentient pieces of living art. Because they were initially so difficult to obtain and even harder to keep healthy in the damp, cold climate of London, given their tropical origins, owning a Siamese became a mark of high social standing and dedication. As the breed began to spread across the Atlantic to the United States, the story remained the same. They arrived as gifts between diplomats and leaders, maintaining their reputation as a breed of the elite. The transition from the tropical warmth of Siam to the foggy streets of London and the diverse climates of America was a testament to the breed's resilience and the dedication of the early fanciers who worked to protect them. These early pioneers of the breed had to learn how to care for a cat that lacked a thick undercoat and demanded far more social interaction than the average household tabby. Imagine the scene at the Crystal Palace in the 1880s. A grand glass structure filled with the sounds of the city, where rows of cages held the finest felines in the world. Amidst the familiar shapes of local cats, a small crowd gathers around a pair of Siamese. The onlookers marvel at the way their fur seems to change color at the extremities and how their deep blue eyes seem to look right through the observers. The Siamese cats, in turn, watch the crowd with an intelligent, steady gaze, perhaps dreaming of the sun-drenched temple courtyards of their ancestors. This was the moment the world truly fell in love with the Siamese, a love affair that has lasted for over a century and transformed a sacred Thai guardian into a global icon of feline beauty. Breathe into the history of this remarkable journey and let the image of these first travelers guide you toward a restful, quiet sleep. As the Siamese cat established its paw prints across the Western world, it quickly transitioned from an exotic curiosity to a symbol of high status, glamour, and intellectual sophistication. This section of our journey explores how the Siamese captured the hearts of some of the most influential figures in history, moving from the halls of the White House to the glimmering sets of Hollywood and the private sanctuaries of musical legends. These stories of famous companionship help us understand why the Siamese is often viewed not just as a pet, but as a prestigious member of the family that demands a seat at the table of power and art. The breed's political journey in the United States began at the highest possible level. In 1878, a Siamese cat named Siam became the very first of her kind to reside in the White House. She was a gift to First Lady Lucy Hayes, the wife of President Rutherford B. Hayes, sent by David B. Sickles, a United States diplomat stationed in Bangkok. In a letter that accompanied the cat, Sickles described her as one of the finest specimens of Siamese cats that I have been able to procure in the country. Siam was a sensation in Washington, D.C., known for her sleek appearance and her habit of wandering through the executive mansion with a royal air of confidence. She was more than just a pet. She was a living diplomatic bridge between the Kingdom of Siam and the United States, cementing the breed's reputation as the cat of kings in the American consciousness. Decades later, the Siamese continued to be a favorite among the American elite. During the 1970s, another Siamese cat named Shan made the White House her home, belonging to Amy Carter, the daughter of President Jimmy Carter. Shan was frequently photographed in the private quarters of the first family, reminding the public that even in the most powerful house in the world, the vocal and affectionate nature of the Siamese could bring a sense of warmth and playfulness. These presidential cats helped normalize the breed, showing that while they were exotic, they were also deeply devoted companions capable of thriving in a busy, high-stakes environment. Beyond the world of politics, the Siamese cat became a muse for the stars of the silver screen. In the mid-20th century, the breed's striking high-contrast look was the perfect accessory for the era of Technicolor and Hollywood glamour. The legendary Elizabeth Taylor was a well-known devotee of the breed, often seen with her Siamese companions who matched her own celebrated Elegance. The Siamese was also immortalized in film, most notably in the Disney classic That Darn Cat, and as the mischievous duo C and Am in Lady and the Tramp. These portrayals, while sometimes leaning into the mysterious or devious stereotypes of the time, only served to increase the breed's popularity, making every household want a cat that possessed such a strong and distinct personality. The world of music also found a kindred spirit in the Siamese. John Lennon, the iconic co-founder of the Beatles, was a lifelong cat lover who shared his home with several Siamese cats throughout his life. He was drawn to their independent yet social nature, often finding their presence a source of quiet comfort amidst the chaos of global stardom. For an artist like Lennon, the Siamese, with its sharp intelligence and vocal opinions, was a fitting companion. Similarly, other artists and writers have been drawn to the breed because the Siamese does not simply sit in the background. It participates in the creative process, offering a trill or a nudge when the room becomes too quiet. These celebrity and presidential associations did more than just boost sales for breeders. They defined the vibe of the Siamese cat for generations. To own a Siamese was to align yourself with the bold, the brilliant, and the beautiful. It suggested that you were a person who appreciated a cat with a voice. A cat that was dog-like in its loyalty, but regal in its bearing. As you settle into your own space tonight, imagine these famous cats through history. Siam walking the halls of the White House, or Lennon's companion curled up near a piano. They remind us that the bond we share with our pets is a universal thread that connects the most famous figures in history to the quiet moments of our own lives. Sleep peacefully, knowing you are in the company of a breed that has been cherished by presidents and poets alike. As we move from the storied history of the Siamese into the physical essence of the breed, we begin to see how every curve and line of their body is a masterpiece of biological engineering. To look upon a Siamese is to witness a study in feline grace. They are often described as the supermodels of the cat world, possessing a long, lean, and muscular frame. that seems to prioritize agility and speed over bulk. This specific anatomy is what enthusiasts refer to as slinky, a term that captures the fluid, almost liquid way they move through a room. Unlike many other domestic cats that have a sturdy, rounded, cobby build, the Siamese is built with fine bones that give them a delicate, ethereal appearance. Yet they are surprisingly strong and athletic beneath that silken fur. One of the most striking features of their anatomy is the head, which is described in breed standards as a perfect wedge. Imagine a smooth, tapering triangle that begins at the nose and flares out in straight lines to the tips of the large, pointed ears. This geometric precision is a hallmark of the breed. Their ears are unusually large and set wide apart, continuing the lines of the wedge-shaped head and giving the cat an expression of constant, high-alert intelligence. This sharp, angular facial structure is further accented by a long, straight profile, leading down to a firm chin and a slender neck that carries the head with a truly royal posture. While this look is certainly beautiful to the human eye, it is deeply rooted in the cat's evolutionary history in the kingdom of Siam. The Siamese is a product of a tropical environment, and their graceful shape is actually a sophisticated adaptation for heat dissipation. In the sweltering humidity of ancient Thailand, a thick, stocky body would have been a liability. By evolving a long, tubular torso and slender limbs, the Siamese increased its total surface area relative to its body weight. This is a biological strategy used by many desert and tropical animals. The more skin surface area exposed to the air, the more efficiently the body can shed excess heat. Their long legs and narrow chest aren't just for show. They are functional radiators that allowed their ancestors to stay cool while patrolling the warm stone floors of temples or the humid outskirts of the forest. This focus on cooling even extends to their tail and paws. Their tail is long and thin, tapering to a fine point, often described as a whip tail. Their paws are small and oval, adding to the illusion that they are walking on their tiptoes. Every part of their body is refined to be as light and airy as possible. This lack of bulk, combined with their fine bone structure, means they do not carry much body fat, which is another reason they are so famous for seeking out warmth in modern homes. They have very little natural insulation, so they rely on their environment and their human companions to help them maintain their ideal temperature. Even their musculature is distinct. It is long and dry muscle, similar to that of a marathon runner rather than a weightlifter. When a Siamese stretches, you can see the ripple of these muscles beneath their tight, close-lying coat. This physical build makes them incredibly fast and capable of vertical leaps that seem to defy gravity. They do not just walk, they glide. As they move, their long neck and slightly higher hind legs give them a prowling, panther-like gait that is both mesmerizing and calming to watch. As you reflect on this anatomy of elegance, visualize the cat as a series of long, graceful lines. See the way the light catches the angles of their wedge-shaped head and the way their slender body stretches out in a perfect, uninterrupted curve. This is a form shaped by the sun and refined by centuries of life in a land of eternal summer. It is a body built for the warmth, designed to be both a functional predator and a beautiful companion. Let the thought of this smooth, rhythmic grace fill your mind. guiding you toward a deep and tranquil state of relaxation. Breathe in the quiet elegance of the Siamese and let their steady, athletic presence carry you into sleep. The most mesmerizing aspect of the Siamese cat, the feature that truly defines its identity, is its coat pattern. Known as pointing, this look consists of a pale body contrasted by dark pigment on the face, ears, paws, and tail. For centuries, this was seen as a divine mark or a royal seal. But modern science has revealed that it is actually the result of a fascinating genetic phenomenon known as the TYR mutation. This mutation affects the tyrosinase gene, which is responsible for the production of melanin, the pigment that gives hair and skin its color. In the Siamese, this gene has evolved in a way that is entirely dependent on temperature, turning the cat's own body into a living canvas that reacts to the environment. At the heart of this magic is a temperature-sensitive enzyme. In most cats, the tyrosinase enzyme works consistently across the entire body, producing pigment regardless of whether the skin is warm or cool. However, in the Siamese, a specific mutation causes this enzyme to become unstable at normal feline body temperatures. A cat's core temperature is typically around 101 degrees Fahrenheit, and at this heat, the mutated enzyme effectively shuts off. Because the enzyme is inactive at the core, no pigment is produced in the fur covering the chest, back, and abdomen, which is why the main body of a Siamese remains a creamy, pale white or fawn color. The transformation begins at the extremities, where the body temperature naturally drops. The ears, the tip of the nose, the paws, and the long, slender tail are all further away from the heart and have a higher surface area to mass ratio, meaning they are several degrees cooler than the rest of the body. In these cooler zones, the tyrosinase enzyme wakes up and becomes active. It begins to produce melanin, which flows into the hair follicles and tints the fur a dark, rich color. This is why we see the distinctive mask on the face and the dark socks on the feet. The cat is quite literally a walking thermal map. The darker the fur, the cooler that part of the body is. This biological quirk leads to some truly incredible observations. For instance, if a Siamese cat lives in a very cold climate or spends a significant amount of time outdoors in winter, its overall coat may darken as its skin temperature drops across its entire body. Conversely, if a Siamese has a patch of fur shaved for a medical procedure and is kept in a warm environment, the fur may grow back white initially because the skin is warm. As the hair grows longer and provides insulation, or if the skin cools down, the dark pigment will eventually return. This reveals that the Siamese cat's appearance is never truly static. It is a fluid, biological response to the world around it. The TYR mutation is also responsible for the breed's striking blue eyes. Because the mutation limits pigment production throughout the body, it also affects the iris of the eye. Siamese cats lack the typical layer of pigment in their eyes that would result in copper, green, or gold tones. Instead, we are left with the underlying structural blue, creating a gaze that feels as though it is reflecting the sky. It is a rare example in nature where a single genetic mutation creates a perfect harmony between the color of the coat and the color of the eyes, resulting in a creature that looks intentionally designed for aesthetic perfection. As you visualize this process, think of the Siamese as a creature of subtle transitions. Imagine the warmth of its heart keeping its silken body pale, while the cool evening air brings out the velvet darkness of its ears and paws. It is a beautiful irony. The very thing that makes them look so exotic is a simple sensitivity to warmth. They are beings of balance, moving through the world as living thermometers. Feel the peaceful rhythm of this biological dance, and let the image of their shifting, temperature-born colors soothe your mind. Breathe in the warmth that keeps them bright, and breathe out into the cool stillness that defines their beauty, drifting slowly into a deep and quiet sleep. The journey of a Siamese cat's life begins with a visual mystery that stands in stark contrast to the iconic image we hold of the breed. When a Siamese kitten is born, it does not possess the striking dark mask, the velvet paws, or the charcoal tail that we associate with its lineage. Instead, these kittens enter the world as pure, snowy white, blank canvases, looking more like tiny clouds or little white spirits than the high-contrast felines they will eventually become. This lack of pigment at birth is a direct result of the fascinating temperature-sensitive genetics we have explored, and it serves as a beautiful introduction to the way these cats are literally colored by the world they inhabit. The reason for this snowy start lies within the sanctuary of the mother's womb. Throughout the gestation period, the kittens are kept at a perfectly regulated, constant high temperature. Because the mother's internal body heat is well above the threshold required to deactivate the mutated tyrosinase enzyme, no pigment can be produced while the kitten is developing. Even the extremities, the ears, paws, and tail, are kept toasty and warm in the communal heat of the womb. Consequently, the kittens are born without a single dark hair. This biological phenomenon ensures that for the first moments of their lives, they are a uniform, pristine white, with tiny pink noses and translucent pink paw pads. However, the moment the kitten is born and takes its first breath of the outside air, the transformation begins. As the kitten is dried and begins to interact with its environment, its extremities naturally begin to cool down. The air in the room, even in a warm home, is significantly cooler than the 100-degree warmth of the womb. Within just a few days of life, the magic of the TYR mutation begins to take hold. The very first signs of color usually appear on the edges of the ears or the tip of the nose, the thinnest and coolest parts of the body. These faint shadows are the first hints of the cat's eventual point color, acting like a slow-motion photograph developing before the owner's eyes. The timeline of color development in a Siamese is a gradual and enchanting process that requires patience to witness. By the time a kitten is 2 to 3 weeks old, the points become clearly visible, though they are still soft and muted. A seal point might show dusty grey smudges, while a lilac point might only show the faintest hint of a dove-grey glow. This development continues steadily throughout the first few months of life. By the time the kitten is ready to leave for a new home at 12 to 16 weeks, the contrast is well established, but the coat is still far from its final form. It actually takes a full year, and sometimes up to 18 months, for a Siamese cat to reach its full maturity of color. During this first year, the mask on the face will slowly expand to cover the eyes and cheeks, and the socks on the legs will darken and climb higher toward the elbows. Even the body color may deepen slightly from a pure white to a warm cream or fawn, depending on the specific color of the points. This slow maturation means that watching a Siamese grow up is a unique experience. You are watching their biological map fill in day by day. As you think of these tiny white kittens transitioning into the regal, masked adults they are destined to be, imagine the quiet patience of nature. There is a serenity in the way they are slowly painted by the air around them. A gentle unfolding of identity that takes place over an entire year. See them in your mind's eye, first as pure white bundles of warmth, and then gradually gaining the sophisticated markings that tell the story of their genetics. This slow, rhythmic change is a reminder of the steady pace of life. Breathe in the thought of this peaceful transformation, and let the image of a growing, darkening kitten soothe you into a deep and quiet sleep, where time moves slowly and every change is beautiful. The most enchanting feature of the Siamese cat, and perhaps the one that truly seals the bond between feline and human, is the striking blue color of their eyes. These are not merely ordinary eyes. They are deep, vivid pools of sapphire that seem to hold a level of intelligence and emotion that is rare in the animal kingdom. While we often take this brilliant color for granted, the science behind those blue eyes is just as fascinating and unique as the temperature-sensitive coat we have already explored. To look into the eyes of a Siamese is to look at a beautiful trick of physics, a phenomenon that has fascinated scientists and cat lovers alike for generations. The brilliant blue color of a Siamese cat's eyes is not actually caused by blue pigment. In most cat breeds, the iris contains varying amounts of melanin, which produces colors ranging from gold and copper to green and amber. However, because of the specific genetic mutation that creates the Siamese pattern, pigment is almost entirely absent from the iris of their eyes. Without pigment to provide a solid color, we are left with a clear, translucent structure. The blue we see is a result of a physical phenomenon called Rayleigh scattering. This is the same scientific principle that makes the sky appear blue. When light enters the clear layers of the Siamese iris, it is scattered by microscopic particles. Short wavelength blue light is reflected back out toward our eyes, while other colors are absorbed. This creates an optical illusion of depth and brilliance, making their eyes appear as though they are glowing from within, like a clear afternoon sky. While this creates a look of unparalleled beauty, it does come with a biological trade-off. Because the Siamese cat lacks a layer of pigment in the eye called the tapetum lucidum, or has a significantly reduced version of it, their vision functions slightly differently than that of other cats. The tapetum lucidum is a reflective layer behind the retina that helps cats see in very low light by bouncing light back through the eye a second time. Because of their unique genetics, Siamese cats often have less of this reflective power. This can lead to a slight reduction in their ability to see with perfect clarity in total darkness, and it may also impact their depth perception. In the past, this genetic trait was also linked to the famous crossed eyes seen in many traditional Siamese, as the brain attempted to compensate for the way the eyes processed visual information. While modern breeding has largely moved away from the crossed eye look, the underlying physics of their vision remains a unique part of their identity. This visual difference also explains why a Siamese cat might seem a bit more cautious or observant than other breeds. They tend to rely heavily on their other senses, such as their incredible hearing and their sensitive whiskers, to navigate their world. When you see a Siamese staring intently at a seemingly empty corner, or tracking the movement of a dust mote in a sunbeam, you are witnessing an animal that is processing its environment with a highly specialized set of tools. They are not just looking. They are perceiving the world through a sapphire lens that filters light in a way no other creature can claim. Their eyes are also the primary way they communicate their deep social attachment to their humans. A Siamese will often hold eye contact longer than many other breeds, using their gaze to talk to you and express their needs or affection. There is a sense of knowing in their blue eyes, a feeling that they are fully present and engaged in the conversation. When they blink slowly at you, it is a sign of ultimate trust and peace, a feline kiss delivered through those brilliant blue windows. As you prepare for sleep, visualize the depth of those sapphire eyes. Imagine them as calm, still mountain lakes reflecting a bright blue sky. There is no pigment there, only the peaceful scattering of light, creating a color that is as pure as it is rare. Think of the quiet, observant nature of the cat, watching over your room with a gaze that is both ancient and devoted. Let the thought of those steady blue eyes bring a sense of security and calm to your mind. Breathe in the cool, clear light of the blue iris, and let the gentle physics of their vision guide you into a state of deep, undisturbed rest. Keep that image of vivid blue in your mind's eye as the world around you fades into the soft, quiet shadows of the night. As we conclude our exploration into the biological beauty of the Siamese, we must look at the specific palette of colors that defines the breed's history. While modern times have seen the introduction of many different point variations, ranging from red and cream to lynx and tortoiseshell, true traditionalists and historians of the breed focus on the 4 canonical colors. These 4 variations are seal point, blue point, chocolate point, and lilac point. Each one possesses its own unique aesthetic and historical journey, representing a different intensity of the temperature-sensitive pigment production we have discussed. To understand these colors is to understand the subtlety and diversity that can arise from a single genetic lineage. The most iconic and oldest of the variations is the seal point. This is the classic Siamese look that first captured the imagination of the Western world in the late 1800s. The seal point features deep, rich, brownish-black points, the color of a seal's fur, set against a warm cream or pale fawn body. Historically, for many decades, this was the only recognized color for the breed. In the early cat shows of London and New York, a Siamese cat was synonymous with a seal point. The contrast is the most dramatic in this variation, creating a bold and regal appearance that highlights the cat's muscular frame and intense blue eyes. Because the pigment is so dense, seal points often show the most significant darkening of their body fur as they age, as the leakage of pigment spreads across their back. Next in the historical timeline is the blue point. While they were seen in the early days of the breed, they were often considered poorly colored seal points until they were officially recognized as their own distinct color in the 1930s. The blue point is a study in cool tones. Their points are a deep, slate blue or silvery grey, while their body is a cool glacial white, sometimes with a bluish tint. There is a softness to the blue point that contrasts with the intensity of the seal. They evoke a sense of moonlight and mist, making them a favorite for those who appreciate a more subtle, ethereal beauty. The genetic difference here is a dilution gene that causes the black pigment of the seal point to clump together differently, reflecting light as blue-grey rather than dark brown. The third traditional color is the chocolate point, which offers a warmer, sweeter alternative to the seal. Often confused with the seal point, the chocolate point is distinguished by its milk chocolate tone. The points are a warm cocoa brown, and importantly, the body stays much lighter and whiter for much longer than a seal point does. Their paw pads and nose leather often have a cinnamon or pinkish brown hue, whereas the seal points are strictly dark. This variation provides a beautiful high contrast look that feels soft and inviting. It took time for breeders to distinguish the warmth of the chocolate from the depth of the seal, but once recognized, it became a staple of the breed's elegance. Finally, we have the lilac point, perhaps the most delicate and rare of the traditional four. The lilac point was not officially recognized until 1955, as it is the most difficult color to produce genetically. It is a diluted version of the chocolate point, resulting in points that are a pale, dove gray with a distinct pinkish or lavender undertone. Their body is a pristine, ghostly white that rarely darkens with age. To look at a lilac point is to see a cat that seems to be made of porcelain and silk. They are often described as the most refined of the Siamese, possessing a quiet, understated glamour that feels modern and timeless all at once. As you reflect on these four traditional colors, seal, blue, chocolate, and lilac, imagine them as different moods of the same ancient spirit. Visualize the deep shadows of the seal, the cool mist of the blue, the warm cocoa of the chocolate, and the soft lavender glow of the lilac. Each one is a masterpiece of temperature and time, a unique expression of the diamond gold lineage. Think of these cats resting together, a spectrum of elegance and history. Let the thought of these beautiful, shifting colors bring a sense of richness and peace to your mind. Breathe in the diversity of the Siamese legacy, and let the soft, muted tones of the lilac and blue guide you into a state of deep, colorful, and quiet sleep. As we transition into the second half of our journey, moving from the physical beauty of the Siamese into the depths of their character, we encounter the trait that is perhaps more famous than their blue eyes, their voice. To live with a Siamese is to live with a cat that has a great deal to say, and the courage to say it loudly. Unlike many other breeds that offer only a quiet, occasional purr or a soft, polite meow, the Siamese is famously chatty. They are widely regarded as the most vocal of all domestic cats, possessing a range of sounds that can be startling in its complexity and human-like quality. For a Siamese, silence is rarely the default state. Instead, they use their voice as a primary tool to navigate their environment and manage their relationship with the humans they love. The acoustic repertoire of a Siamese is incredibly diverse, ranging from delicate melodic chirps and trills to deep, resonant yowls and hollers. When you first enter a room, a Siamese may greet you with a short, rising trill, a sound that conveys a sense of happy acknowledgement. However, if they feel their dinner is late, or if a closed door is standing between them and their favorite person, that trill can quickly transform into a loud, persistent yowl. This particular sound is often compared to the cry of a human infant, a frequency that is biologically difficult for humans to ignore. It is an insistent, brass wind sound that carries through walls and floors, ensuring that the cat is always the center of attention. They don't just meow, they project, using their diaphragm to create a sound that feels much larger than their slender bodies would suggest. What makes this vocalization truly special, however, is the call and response nature of their communication. Siamese cats do not simply yell into the void, they expect an answer. Owners often report that they can have full conversations with their Siamese. If you speak to them, they will often wait for you to finish before offering a reply in a specific tone that matches the mood of the interaction. If you ask them a question, they might offer a questioning chirp. If you scold them, they might offer a sharp, defensive honk. This interactive quality creates a profound sense of companionship, as it feels less like owning a pet and more like living with a small, opinionated roommate who is constantly checking in with you. They use their voice to express a vast spectrum of emotions, from boredom and hunger to deep, purring contentment and intense curiosity. This talkative nature is a direct reflection of their high intelligence and their desire for social engagement. Research into feline vocalization suggests that while wild cats rarely meow to one another after kittenhood, domestic cats have evolved the meow specifically to communicate with humans. The Siamese has taken this evolutionary trait to its peak. They have learned that by varying the pitch, duration, and intensity of their calls, they can manipulate the humans in their lives with remarkable precision. They are observant enough to know exactly which sound will get you out of bed in the morning and which sound will convince you to share a bit of your snack. Living with such a vocal companion requires a certain kind of patience and a deep appreciation for their personality. To the uninitiated, the noise might seem overwhelming, but to the Siamese lover, it is the sound of a devoted friend sharing their day. It is a constant reminder that you are not alone in the house. As you listen to the rhythmic sounds of the night, imagine the soft marup of a Siamese cat as it settles into the foot of your bed, or the quiet, sleepy trill it gives when you adjust the blankets. Their voice is their way of anchoring themselves to you, a vocal thread that connects your two lives. Think of the conversation as a lullaby, a steady, predictable stream of communication that signifies safety and presence. There is comfort in knowing that your companion is so eager to share their world with you. Breathe in the quiet stillness of your room and let the imagined echoes of these soft chirps and melodic trills soothe your mind. The Siamese cat's voice is not a disturbance, but a beautiful, expressive song of loyalty. Let the thought of this constant vocal companionship guide you into a state of deep and peaceful rest, knowing that in the morning your friend will be there, ready to tell you all about their dreams. While the beauty and the voice of the Siamese cat often take center stage, there is a powerful engine of intelligence driving everything they do. Within the feline world, the Siamese is consistently ranked among the smartest of all domestic breeds. Possessing a cognitive complexity that can be both delightful and, at times, a bit mischievous for their owners. Their intelligence is not just a matter of learning tricks. It is a profound, observant, and investigative way of interacting with the world. A Siamese does not just inhabit a home. They study it, mapping out its secrets and learning its routines until they understand the mechanics of the household as well as any human resident. One of the most impressive demonstrations of their high IQ is their remarkable long-term memory and spatial awareness. A Siamese cat has an incredible ability to remember the location of items, even if they haven't seen them for weeks. If you hide a favorite feathered wand in a specific drawer, or if a rogue toy rolls under a heavy cabinet, the Siamese will not simply forget it. They will return to that spot days later, staring intently at the location, or attempting to reach under the furniture with a slender paw. They possess an object permanence and a memory for detail that allows them to solve complex puzzles. This intelligence makes them highly trainable. Many Siamese can be taught to play fetch, walk on a leash, or even perform small tasks that are usually reserved for highly motivated dogs. However, their intelligence is most visible in their hyper-observant nature. They are the ultimate detectives of the cat world. A Siamese will notice the smallest change in their environment almost immediately. If you move a piece of furniture by only a few inches, or if you bring home a new grocery bag and set it on the counter, the Siamese is usually the first to arrive on the scene to inspect the anomaly. They are deeply attuned to human routines and can predict your movements with startling accuracy. They know the sound of the specific cabinet that holds their treats, and they can distinguish the sound of your car's engine from any other vehicle on the street. They often learn how to open doors, turn on faucets, or even manipulate light switches simply by watching their owners perform these actions day after day. This problem-solving ability stems from their natural curiosity and high energy levels. A bored Siamese is a creative Siamese, and they will often invent their own games if they aren't provided with enough mental stimulation. They might figure out how to unroll an entire spool of paper towels just to see how the mechanism works. Or they might learn exactly which item to knock off a nightstand to wake you up at a specific time. This is not naughtiness in the traditional sense, but rather a manifestation of a mind that is constantly seeking input and interaction. They require jobs to do, whether that is mastering a food puzzle or engaging in a long session of interactive play that challenges their reflexes and their wits. Their intelligence also has a social dimension. They are experts at reading human emotions and body language. A Siamese can sense when you are stressed, sad, or distracted, and they will often adjust their behavior to match your mood. Perhaps by being extra vocal to cheer you up, or by providing a quiet, steady presence when they feel you need a moment of peace. This emotional intelligence is what creates the deep, almost telepathic bond that Siamese owners often describe. They aren't just reacting to cues, they are anticipating your needs and integrating themselves into your life with a level of intentionality that is truly unique to the breed. Imagine the quiet, focused mind of the Siamese cat. Think of them as a silent observer, perched on a high shelf, watching the world with a calm and calculating gaze. There is a great peace in knowing that your companion is so intelligent and so aware of your presence. Their mind is a sharp, bright light, even in the darkness. In the world of feline companionship, the Siamese stands apart as the ultimate Velcro cat. This term is affectionately used by enthusiasts to describe the breed's intense, almost magnetic need to stay physically close to their chosen humans. While the stereotypical image of a cat is one of cold independence and aloofness, the Siamese completely shatters this myth. They do not merely live in your home. They live on your lap, on your shoulders, and in your heart. Their social attachment is so profound that it often borders on the canine, earning them the reputation of being the most dog-like of all cat breeds. For a Siamese, proximity is not just a preference, it is a vital psychological requirement for their well-being. One of the most defining characteristics of this attachment is the follow the owner habit. If you have a Siamese in your home, you will rarely find yourself alone in a room. Whether you are moving to the kitchen to make a cup of tea, heading to the home office to work, or simply walking down the hallway, you will likely find a slender, high-contrast shadow trotting along beside you. They are not necessarily looking for food or play in these moments. They simply want to be where you are. They possess a deep-seated desire to be part of the action, regardless of how mundane that action might be. If you are sitting, they are in your lap. If you are standing, they are leaning against your ankles. If you are working at a computer, they are likely walking across the keyboard or perched on your desk, watching your every move with those steady sapphire eyes. This need for proximity is a reflection of their deep emotional sensitivity. The Siamese does not tolerate being ignored well. They view themselves as equal members of the household hierarchy and expect to be treated as such. If you are preoccupied with a task and fail to acknowledge their presence, they will use every tool in their arsenal, from gentle headbutts and soft chirps to the more insistent hollers we discussed earlier, to remind you that they are there. They thrive on the exchange of energy between species. This social bond is so intense that Siamese cats often form a one-person bond, choosing one specific member of the household to be their primary anchor, though they remain affectionate and vocal with the entire family. The psychological need for closeness extends into the night, making them the ultimate bed warmers. A Siamese cat is rarely content to sleep in a separate cat bed or on a distant chair. They have a biological and emotional drive to be in one's bed, often burrowing deep under the covers to be as close to your skin as possible. This behavior provides them with both the physical warmth they crave due to their lack of an undercoat and the emotional security they need to feel safe. The rhythmic sound of their purr, combined with their warm, lean bodies pressed against you, creates a unique sense of mutual comfort that many owners find incredibly soothing and essential for their own rest. This Velcro nature is actually a sign of their high intelligence and evolved social structure. In their ancestral homes in Thailand, these cats lived in close-knit groups within temples and palaces where social interaction was constant. They have translated that ancient communal instinct into a modern devotion to their human pride. They do not see a boundary between themselves and you. Your space is their space, and your activities are their activities. This level of devotion is what makes the Siamese so rewarding to live with. They are a constant, unwavering presence that provides a sense of being truly chosen by another living creature. There is a profound peace in this kind of loyalty, a bond that ensures you are never truly alone. Let the thought of this devoted Velcro companion bring a sense of warmth and security to your mind. Breathe in the quiet joy of being loved so completely by such a regal and intelligent creature. Let the image of their proximity and the rhythmic sound of their contented purring guide you into a deep, restful sleep, anchored by the knowledge that you are cherished and guarded by a friend who never wants to be anywhere else but by your side. While the intense social attachment of the Siamese cat is one of its most endearing qualities, it carries with it a significant emotional weight. Because these cats are so deeply wired for companionship, they possess a heightened sensitivity that makes them vulnerable to the stresses of solitude. Unlike a more independent barn cat or a solitary breed that might enjoy hours of quiet contemplation, the Siamese views isolation as a form of distress. This section explores the complex emotional landscape of the breed, specifically why they do not tolerate isolation well, and the restless behaviors that can manifest when their psychological need for proximity is left unfulfilled. The root of this sensitivity lies in their history and their high intelligence. Having spent centuries as the pampered residents of palaces and the constant companions of monks, the Siamese evolved to be part of a social fabric. To a Siamese, a closed door is not just a physical barrier, it is a personal affront and a source of confusion. When a human leaves the home for an entire workday, the Siamese does not simply turn off and sleep the day away. Instead, they remain mentally active, and without a social outlet for that energy, they can experience genuine separation anxiety. They are acutely aware of the passage of time and the departure of their anchor, and for many, the silence of an empty house is heavy and unsettling. When left alone for too long, the behavior of a Siamese can shift from calm and regal to restless and anxious. This is often where the troubleshooting intelligence of the breed turns inward. A restless Siamese might engage in excessive vocalization, hollowing or yowling at the door long after their owner has gone, in a desperate attempt to call their pack back together. They may also exhibit pacing behaviors or become hyperfixated on the exit points of the home. In more severe cases of separation anxiety, a Siamese might engage in over-grooming, or they may express their frustration by knocking items off shelves or investigating cabinets they usually ignore. This is not out of malice, but rather a manifestation of a mind that is spinning its wheels without a companion to ground it. This sensitivity also extends to their environment and the emotional tone of the household. A Siamese is like a sponge for human emotion. They notice when their owners are stressed, hurried, or upset, and they often mirror that anxiety. If the house feels chaotic, the cat may become more demanding or clingy, seeking reassurance through physical touch or constant verbal check-ins. They require a stable, predictable routine to feel secure. For a Siamese, the ideal life is one where they can predict exactly when their human will return, when they will be played with, and when they can expect to be tucked into bed. To mitigate this deep-seated need for interaction, many experts and long-time owners suggest that a Siamese should never be an only cat if the owners are away frequently. They thrive in pairs, ideally with another Siamese or a similarly active breed, providing one another with the social grooming and play fighting that keeps their minds occupied while the humans are gone. Having a sibling gives them a constant source of warmth and a partner in conversation. which significantly lowers the risk of developing the destructive habits associated with loneliness. They are communal creatures at heart, and having a peer to share their Velcro nature with makes a world of difference in their overall happiness. Reflect on the depth of this sensitivity. It is a reminder of how much of their heart they give to us. The Siamese doesn't just live alongside us. They integrate their very spirit into ours. Imagine the peace they feel when the house is full, the doors are open, and everyone is gathered together. There is a profound beauty in being so deeply needed by another living being. Know that your presence is their greatest treasure, just as their loyalty is yours. To understand the daily life of a Siamese cat, one must first understand the biological clock that governs their world. Like most felines, the Siamese is a crepuscular creature, meaning they are naturally most active during the twilight hours of dawn and dusk. This rhythm is a relic of their wild ancestors, who found these dim, transitional periods of the day the most advantageous for hunting. In the modern home, this translates into a cat that is often the first to wake you, with a melodic trill as the sun begins to crest the horizon, and the one most ready for a spirited game of chase, just as you are settling in for the evening. Their energy follows the sun, peaking when the world is in a state of soft, quiet change. A fascinating aspect of this internal clock is the way the Siamese clock watches. Because of their high intelligence and observant nature, they are masters of the human schedule. They don't just react to your movements, they anticipate them. They learn the subtle cues that precede your departure for work. The sound of your keys jingling, the specific way you close the laptop, or even the change in your scent as you prepare to head out. Similarly, they often appear by the front door or in a specific window minutes before you arrive home, having detected the distant vibration of your car or simply knowing, through a precise internal sense of time, that you are due back. They are deeply anchored in the routine of the household, and they find immense comfort in a schedule that remains predictable and steady. When they are not in their active hunting phases, the Siamese is a professional napper, but their choice of location is highly specific. Because they lack a thick, insulating undercoat, they are perpetually seeking out the warmest spots in the house. This is why you will frequently find them stretched out in the brightest, most direct sunbeams on the floor, absorbing every bit of solar energy they can. However, their instinct also drives them toward high vantage points. In the temples of old Siam, high rafters provided both a cool breeze and a safe place to observe the world below. In a modern home, this translates to a love for the top of the refrigerator, the highest shelf of a bookshelf, or the peak of a cat tree. These warm, high napping spots allow them to rest while maintaining a commanding view of their territory, ensuring they never miss a moment of the action. The Siamese doesn't just sleep, they power nap with an awareness that is always simmering just beneath the surface. If you walk into a room where a Siamese is resting, you will often see one ear swivel in your direction, tracking your movement even while their eyes remain closed. This blend of relaxation and alertness is a hallmark of the breed. They are always on, even when they appear to be at their most peaceful. This is part of what makes them such engaging companions. They are never truly checked out of the relationship. They are always waiting for the next interaction, the next conversation, or the next opportunity to follow you into another room. As you prepare for your own rest tonight, imagine the quiet, rhythmic cycle of the Siamese day. Visualize them basking in the late afternoon sun, their cream-colored fur warm to the touch. See them as the sun goes down, becoming active and playful, their blue eyes wide in the twilight. And finally, imagine them finding that perfect, high, warm spot to curl into a tight ball as the house grows still. There is a deep comfort in these natural rhythms, a sense that everything is happening exactly as it should. Breathe in the steady, predictable flow of time, and let the thought of these ancient, sun-seeking cycles guide you into a state of deep and tranquil sleep. To understand the spatial needs of a Siamese cat is to understand that they do not live in a two-dimensional world. For this breed, the floor is merely a transition zone, a necessary path to reach the vertical heights they truly crave. The Siamese is a natural-born climber, a feline architect who views every bookshelf, cabinet top, and doorframe as a potential summit. This instinct is deeply embedded in their DNA, harkening back to their ancestors who patrolled the high arched rafters of Thai temples and the dense canopies of the Southeast Asian forests. In a domestic setting, providing a vertical world is not just a luxury for a Siamese, it is a fundamental requirement for their psychological and physical health. When a Siamese cat is perched upon the highest possible point in a room, their entire demeanor changes. They transition from a playful companion into a stoic observer. From a high vantage point, they can monitor the territory of the home, watching the movement of humans, the shifting of shadows, and the birds outside the window with a sense of security and control. This is why high-quality cat trees are essential for this breed. A sturdy, ceiling-high tree allows them to expend their incredible athletic energy through vertical climbing rather than horizontal sprinting. Without these outlets, a Siamese will often invent their own paths, leaping from the back of a sofa to the top of a refrigerator in a single gravity-defying bound. Their fine-boned, muscular anatomy makes them exceptionally light and agile, allowing them to land with pinpoint precision on narrow ledges that would baffle a heavier breed. Beyond climbing, the Siamese requires a high level of interactive play that engages their sharp hunting instinct. They are not the type of cat to be satisfied with a stationary toy left on the carpet. To a Siamese, a toy is only interesting if it behaves like prey. This means they need play therapy that mimics the erratic movements of birds or rodents. Using feather wands, ribbon teasers, or even laser pointers allows them to engage in the full predatory sequence: the stalk, the crouch, the high-speed chase, and the final triumphant pounce. Because they are so intelligent, they often learn the tricks of certain toys quickly, requiring their human companions to be creative in how they move the lure. They thrive on the challenge of a difficult catch, and a successful play session often ends with the cat proudly carrying their prize around the house, accompanied by a series of muffled, victorious chirps. This need for play is also a vital social outlet. For the Siamese, play is a collaborative effort. They don't want to hunt alone. They want you to witness their prowess and participate in the game. This interactive time strengthens the Velcro bond we explored earlier, as it builds a shared language of movement and excitement between cat and human. It is also during these high-energy moments that the Siamese's vocal nature comes to the fore. They might chatter at a laser dot on the wall, a fast, rhythmic clicking of the teeth that mimics the sound a cat makes when they are frustrated by prey they cannot reach. Or they may give a loud, excited yowl when they finally snag a feathered toy out of midair. The mental stimulation provided by play and vertical exploration is the key to a calm Siamese. A cat that has spent the evening climbing and hunting is a cat that will be content to spend the night curled up peacefully at the foot of your bed. Without these outlets, their high IQ can turn toward mischief, as they look for ways to entertain themselves by opening cupboards or unrolling toilet paper. By honoring their need for height and their instinct for the hunt, you are providing them with the fulfillment their wild hearts still crave. As you drift towards sleep, visualize the effortless grace of a Siamese mid-climb. See them stretching their long, lean body to reach the next platform, their blue eyes focused and bright with the thrill of the ascent. Imagine them perched high above, a silent, beautiful guardian, looking down upon a peaceful home. There is a sense of power and poise in their vertical world, a quiet confidence that comes from being exactly where they are meant to be. Breathe in the stillness of the room and let the image of this agile, contented climber bring a sense of balance and elevation to your own thoughts. Let the steady, quiet presence of the high-climbing Siamese lead you into a deep and restorative sleep. In the diverse world of feline genetics, the coat of the Siamese cat stands as a testament to the efficiency of tropical evolution. While many beloved breeds, such as the Maine Coon or the Persian, are defined by their thick, voluminous fur and dense, woolly undercoats, the Siamese takes a decidedly minimalist approach. Their coat is famously short, fine, and lies very close to the body, often described as having a texture similar to satin or silk. This specific grooming profile is not just an aesthetic choice by breeders. It is a fundamental biological adaptation that dictated how the Siamese survived in the high humidity of Southeast Asia. Because they possess virtually no undercoat, their grooming needs are remarkably low, but their sensitivity to the world around them is significantly higher. The absence of an undercoat means that the Siamese does not experience the heavy shedding seasons that plague many other cat owners. While they do lose hair like any mammal, the volume is much lower, and the hairs themselves are so fine and short that they rarely create the dense mats or tumbleweeds of fur found in other households. From a maintenance perspective, the Siamese is largely self-sufficient. They are meticulous cleaners, spending a significant portion of their waking hours smoothing down their sleek fur with their sandpaper-like tongues. Because there is no thick underlayer to trap dirt or oils, a simple weekly brushing with a soft bristled brush, or even a gentle wipe with a damp chamois cloth, is usually enough to keep their coat gleaming like polished marble. This lack of bulk allows the cat's lean musculature to be visible at all times, highlighting their athletic silhouette and making every movement appear deliberate and refined. However, this lack of insulation comes with a significant trade-off. The Siamese feels the cold more acutely than almost any other common breed. In the high-altitude temples and humid plains of ancient Siam, a heavy coat would have been a dangerous liability, leading to overheating and lethargy. In a modern, air-conditioned home or a temperate climate, the Siamese is essentially underdressed for the weather. This biological reality drives much of their most recognizable behavior. They are the world's most dedicated sun seekers. If there is a single sliver of light hitting the carpet at 3 in the afternoon, a Siamese will find it, stretching their lean body to its maximum length to absorb every available ultraviolet ray. They aren't just napping, they are recharging their internal batteries, using the sun to maintain a core body temperature that their thin coat cannot preserve on its own. This sensitivity to the cold is also what fuels their Velcro nature and their insistence on sharing human spaces. To a Siamese, a person is a high-yield heat source. On a chilly evening, they will not be content to sit on the other side of the sofa. They will burrow under blankets, tuck themselves into the crook of a resting arm, or even perch on a shoulder to take advantage of the heat rising from the neck. This heat-seeking instinct is so strong that they have been known to curl up on top of warm electronics, cable boxes, or even in the laundry basket directly on top of clothes fresh from the dryer. They are constantly monitoring the thermal landscape of the home, moving from one warm island to the next to stay comfortable. Understanding this minimalist grooming and the resulting sensitivity allows for a deeper appreciation of the breed's daily needs. When a Siamese vocalizes on a drafty morning, they are often signaling that the temperature has dropped below their comfort zone. Providing them with heated cat beds, warm fleece blankets, or even small feline sweaters in extreme climates can significantly improve their quality of life. This physical vulnerability makes them appear more delicate, contrasting beautifully with their high intelligence and athletic prowess. It creates a relationship of mutual care, where the human provides the warmth and protection that the cat's own genetics cannot, resulting in a cat that remains sleek, clean, and perpetually close to their source of comfort. Beyond their striking looks and vocal personalities, the Siamese cat possesses a sensory suite that is nothing short of extraordinary. To move through the world as a Siamese is to experience a reality that is far more vibrant and detailed than our own. Their senses are finely tuned instruments, honed by millennia of life as both predators and guardians in the tropical landscapes of Southeast Asia. While we have explored the specialized science behind their sapphire eyes, it is their hearing and their tactile awareness that truly set them apart as masters of their environment. A Siamese does not just inhabit a space, they perceive every vibration, every frequency, and every subtle shift in the air with a level of precision that can seem almost supernatural to the human observer. The hearing of a Siamese is arguably their most powerful diagnostic tool. While the average human can hear sounds up to about 20 kilohertz, a Siamese cat can detect frequencies as high as 64 to 85 kilohertz. This staggering range allows them to hear the ultrasonic conversations of small rodents or the faint, high-pitched rustle of an insect moving across a carpet 2 rooms away. Each ear is controlled by 32 individual muscles, allowing them to rotate their ears independently by 180 degrees. This satellite dish capability allows them to pinpoint the exact origin of a sound within a fraction of an inch without even moving their head. If a Siamese is sitting perfectly still, but their ears are twitching and swiveling, they are mapping the room, processing a soundscape that is completely invisible to us. This acute hearing is why the Siamese often seems to react to events before they happen. They can hear the specific frequency of a familiar car's engine as it turns onto a street, or the sound of a key in a lock long before the door opens. This sensitivity also explains why they can be easily startled by sudden, loud noises. To a Siamese, a vacuum cleaner or a sudden thunderclap isn't just loud. It is a sensory assault. Their world is a symphony of detail, and they are constantly listening for changes in the rhythm of the household. This is why they are such excellent doorbells, often reaching the entry to greet a guest before the doorbell has even been pressed. They are perpetually tuned in to the acoustic heartbeat of their territory. Complementing their hearing is an incredibly sophisticated tactile system, primarily centered in their whiskers or vibrissae. A Siamese cat's whiskers are not just long hairs. They are deeply embedded sensors connected to the somatosensory cortex of the brain. These whiskers are so sensitive that they can detect minute changes in air currents, allowing the cat to feel the presence of objects in total darkness without ever touching them. This is how they navigate through a cluttered room at night with such effortless liquid grace. Their whiskers act as a short-range radar system, telling them the exact width of an opening or the distance to a nearby wall. For a breed as athletic and vertical as the Siamese, this spatial awareness is what allows them to perform their legendary leaps with such confidence and accuracy. Even their sense of taste and smell is highly specialized. While they have fewer taste buds than humans, their sense of smell is roughly 14 times stronger. They use a specialized organ in the roof of their mouth, called the Jacobson's organ, to taste-smell the air, a behavior known as the Flamen response. When a Siamese sits with their mouth slightly open and a distant, focused look in their eyes, they are using this organ to analyze complex chemical signals. They are gathering information about who has been in the room, what food is nearby, or even the subtle hormonal changes that signal the emotional state of the people around them. This comprehensive sensory package ensures the Siamese is never truly caught off guard, maintaining a constant, silent vigilance over their home. The commitment to a Siamese cat is a journey that often spans decades, as this breed is renowned for its remarkable longevity. While many domestic cats are considered seniors by the age of 10, a Siamese is frequently just entering its prime at that stage. With proper care, a stable environment, and a bit of luck, it is not uncommon for a Siamese to live between 15 and 20 years, with some extraordinary individuals reaching their mid-20s. This durability is a testament to the hardy genetics of their Thai ancestors. But it also means that the human-feline bond formed with this breed is one of the longest and most profound in the animal kingdom. To bring a Siamese into your home is to accept a companion for a significant portion of your own life. However, their long lifespan is accompanied by specific genetic markers and health predispositions that every dedicated owner should understand. One of the most historically famous traits of the Siamese is the presence of crossed eyes, or strabismus. In the early days of the breed's introduction to the West, this was considered a standard feature. Genetically, this occurs because the same mutation that creates the beautiful color point pattern also affects the wiring of the optic nerves. In some cats, the wiring between the eye and the brain is slightly misaligned, causing the eyes to cross as the cat's brain attempts to fuse the visual field into a single image. While modern breeding has significantly reduced the prevalence of this trait for aesthetic reasons, the underlying neurological quirk remains a part of the Siamese blueprint. For most cats, it does not significantly hinder their quality of life. though it may slightly impact their depth perception during high-speed leaps. Another health consideration deeply rooted in the breed's physiology is their respiratory sensitivity. Siamese cats are statistically more prone to feline asthma than many other breeds. This is characterized by a persistent cough, wheezing, or labored breathing, often triggered by environmental allergens. Because of their fine bone structure and the way their respiratory systems are configured, they are particularly sensitive to poor indoor air quality. Common household items that most people take for granted, such as dusty clay litter, scented candles, aerosol sprays, or even heavy perfumes, can act as irritants that trigger an asthmatic flare-up. Maintaining a high standard of air quality is perhaps the single most important preventative health measure for a Siamese owner. This often involves switching to low-dust or dust-free litter alternatives, utilizing high-quality air purifiers in the rooms where the cat spends the most time, and being mindful of the cleaning products used around the house. When their respiratory health is managed, these cats remain vibrant and active well into their teens. Furthermore, because of their lean builds and lack of an insulating undercoat, keeping their weight managed is crucial. An overweight Siamese loses the very thermal regulation advantages their body was designed for, putting undue stress on their fine joints and cardiovascular system. Dental health is another area where the Siamese requires proactive care. They are prone to periodontal disease which, if left unchecked, can lead to systemic health issues affecting the heart and kidneys. Regular dental checkups, and if the cat is willing, routine teeth brushing can add years to their life. This high-maintenance aspect of their health is balanced by their incredible resilience and their refusal to let age slow them down. Even a senior Siamese will often retain a kitten-like curiosity, though they may express it with a bit more dignity than they did in their youth. As the years pass, the health of a Siamese becomes a collaborative effort between the cat and the owner. They are experts at hiding discomfort, a survival trait from their wilder ancestors. So owners must rely on their deep bond and knowledge of the cat's routine to spot subtle changes in behavior. A slightly quieter voice, a missed jump, or a change in napping habits can be the first sign that a senior Siamese needs a bit of extra support. By staying vigilant and providing a clean, warm, and air-pure environment, you ensure that the moon diamond of the Siamese spirit continues to shine brightly for as long as possible. The reward for this care is a decade and a half or more of the most vocal, loyal, and intelligent companionship the world has to offer. As the Siamese cat transitions from the high-energy acrobatics of youth into its senior years, a beautiful transformation takes place. While they never truly lose their hallmark intelligence or their desire for conversation, the edge of their intensity begins to soften into a deep, seasoned devotion. These golden years, typically beginning around age 12 or 13, are often described by owners as the most rewarding phase of the relationship. The Velcro nature of the breed remains, but the quality of that attachment shifts. Instead of a frantic shadow following you from room to room, the senior Siamese becomes a calmer lap cat, seeking out a steady, reliable rhythm of physical contact and shared quietude. In their youth, a Siamese might have climbed the highest bookshelves or demanded a game of fetch at 3 a.m. In their golden years, those same cats prioritize comfort and predictable intimacy. They become masters of the long, contemplative nap, yet they still insist on being part of the pack. You may find that your senior companion no longer tries to sprint through your legs as you open the door, but instead waits patiently in a sunbeam nearby, greeting you with a softer, perhaps slightly raspier version of their famous yowl. Their communication becomes more nuanced. They may use subtle trills or prolonged eye contact to express their needs, relying on the years of shared history to ensure you understand exactly what they are asking for. Physically, the aging Siamese requires a shift in how we manage their environment. Their fine bone structure, which served them so well for speed and agility, is susceptible to the same wear and tear that affects all long-lived mammals. Arthritis and reduced joint flexibility are common in senior felines, and for a breed that lives in a vertical world, this can be a source of frustration. A cat that once leaped effortlessly onto the kitchen counter may now hesitate before jumping onto the sofa. To support their dignity and mobility, owners often introduce senior-friendly modifications. Soft, carpeted ramps or sets of small pet stairs can provide them access to their favorite high vantage points without the jarring impact of a jump. Because of their minimalist coat and lack of body fat, the senior Siamese's lifelong quest for warmth becomes even more critical. Aging bodies struggle more with thermoregulation, and a chilly draft that was a minor annoyance to a 3-year-old cat can be genuinely painful for an 18-year-old with stiff joints. This is the stage of life where heated cat beds or self-warming thermal pads become essential. Placing these in their preferred napping spots, especially those elevated off the floor, provides the constant, gentle heat their metabolism requires. It is not uncommon for a senior Siamese to spend the majority of its day tucked into a heated nest, emerging only for meals, a brief vocal update on the household status, and a dedicated session of lap time in the evening. Dietary needs also shift during this period. Senior Siamese cats may experience a decline in their sense of smell or taste, which can lead to a decreased interest in food. Since maintaining muscle mass is vital for their longevity, providing highly palatable, nutrient-dense meals, sometimes warmed slightly to enhance the aroma, is key. Many seniors also benefit from increased hydration, so moving toward a wet food-heavy diet or providing a circulating water fountain can help support their kidney function, which is a common area of focus for aging felines. Perhaps the most touching aspect of the golden years is the strengthening of the emotional bond. A senior Siamese has spent a lifetime learning your moods, your scent, and your schedule. They have seen you through years of change, and in return, they offer a level of companionship that feels almost telepathic. They are no longer just pets. They are the keepers of your shared history. When they curl into your lap and let out a deep rattling purr, it is a sign of ultimate trust. They are content to simply be with you, their presence providing a steady, calming anchor in a fast-paced world. This phase of life is a lesson in patience and grace, a slow-moving symphony of mutual respect that makes every day with a senior Siamese a treasure. Selecting a Siamese cat is not a decision to be made based on aesthetics alone. While their striking appearance, those sapphire eyes and elegant contrasting points, makes them a favorite in photography and film, they are far more than a decorative addition to a home. In fact, The ideal Siamese owner is someone who recognizes that this breed is not a piece of living furniture, but a high-functioning, deeply emotional participant in the daily life of the household. To live successfully with a Siamese, an owner must be prepared for a relationship that is far more demanding and ultimately more rewarding than the typical cat and human dynamic. The first and most important quality of a Siamese owner is the desire for active engagement. This is the perfect breed for the individual who wants a participant in their life. If you are looking for a cat that will sit quietly on a windowsill for 8 hours and only acknowledge your presence when the food bowl is empty, the Siamese will likely leave you feeling overwhelmed. Conversely, if you want a companion who will follow you from room to room, supervise your cooking, comment on your phone conversations, and insist on helping you fold the laundry, the Siamese is an unparalleled choice. They thrive with owners who treat them as conversational partners and involve them in the rhythm of the day. A potential owner must also possess a high degree of patience for vocalization. As we have explored, the Siamese is a talkative breed that uses its voice to express a vast spectrum of needs and opinions. The ideal owner is someone who finds this chatty nature endearing rather than irritating. You must be prepared for a cat that will answer back when spoken to, and one that will use a loud, persistent yowl to announce their boredom or hunger. People who live in thin-walled apartments with noise-sensitive neighbors, or those who value a perfectly silent home environment, may find the Siamese to be a poor fit. However, for those who live alone or in a quiet household, the voice of the Siamese provides a sense of constant, comforting presence that wards off loneliness. Time is the second major requirement. Because of their Velcro nature and susceptibility to separation anxiety, the Siamese is not a good fit for someone who works exceptionally long hours or travels frequently without making arrangements for their cat's social needs. The ideal owner is someone who spends a significant amount of time at home or has a lifestyle that allows for frequent interaction. If the primary human must be away, the ideal owner is proactive enough to provide a second feline companion, preferably another Siamese, to ensure the cat's psychological need for pack interaction is met. They are social obligates. They do not just want your company, they fundamentally require it for their mental health. Furthermore, an ideal Siamese owner is someone with a sense of humor and a tolerant attitude toward curiosity. This is a highly intelligent, high-energy breed that views the entire home as a gymnasium and a laboratory. They will open your cabinets, figure out how to work the faucet, and knock your pens off the desk just to watch them fall. An owner who is overly precious about their home decor, or who demands a cat that never disrupts the order of a room, may find themselves at odds with a Siamese. Instead, the best match is someone who enjoys the cat's cleverness and provides them with the vertical space and interactive toys they need to channel that energy positively. Ultimately, the person best suited for a Siamese is someone who is looking for a deep, soul-level connection. This breed offers a level of loyalty and emotional intuition that is rare. They are sensitive to their owner's moods and will often provide comfort during times of stress, acting as a feline mirror to the human experience. If you are looking for a best friend in fur, someone who will challenge you, entertain you, and stay by your side through every phase of life, then you are the ideal candidate for the moon diamond of the cat world. The legacy of the Siamese is built on this mutual devotion. It is a partnership of equals, a meeting of minds, and a commitment to a life lived in high-definition companionship. For the right person, there is no other breed that can compare to the vibrant, vocal, and endlessly loving spirit of the Siamese. As we draw our journey through the world of the Siamese to a close, we find ourselves reflecting on more than just a breed of cat. We are reflecting on a living piece of cultural and emotional history. The Siamese is a creature that has transitioned from the sacred silence of Ayutthaya's temples to the bustling living rooms of the modern world. Yet they have managed to keep their soul entirely intact. The emotional legacy of the Siamese is defined by this strange, beautiful duality. They are both an ancient, regal mystery and a deeply personal domestic friend. To live with one is to be part of an enduring allure that has spanned continents and centuries, leaving an indelible mark on every culture that has welcomed them. This legacy is most felt in the way a Siamese cat eventually settles into the home. After the high-energy antics of kittenhood and the inquisitive detective work of their prime, the Siamese becomes a gentle companion that thrives on a cooperative routine. They are creatures of habit who find profound security in the shared rituals of their human family. There is a specific type of peace that settles over a household when a Siamese decides it is time to rest. They don't just go to sleep. They choose a person, find a specific patch of warmth, and offer a rhythmic, vibrating purr that serves as a heartbeat for the room. In these moments, the vocal, demanding supermodel of the feline world reveals its true nature, a sensitive soul that simply wants to belong. The enduring appeal of the breed across cultures, from the Vishen Mat of Thailand to the prize winners of Victorian England and the beloved family pets of today, stems from their ability to communicate. They are one of the few animals that seem to bridge the gap between species through sheer force of personality. They look at us not as masters, but as equals, and they demand a level of respect and interaction that elevates the pet-owner relationship into a true partnership. This is why their legacy is so often documented in literature, art, and film. They represent a kind of exotic intelligence that humans find irresistible. They are the philosophers of the cat world, observing our lives with those steady blue eyes and offering their vocal opinions on our choices. Beyond their individual personalities, the Siamese has left a biological legacy that has shaped the entire landscape of modern cat fancy. Almost every pointed breed we see today, from the fluffy Himalayan and the gentle ragdoll to the striking Tonkinese, owes its existence to the original Siamese. The TYR mutation, that magical temperature-sensitive gene, was the gift the Siamese gave to the world, allowing for a whole spectrum of high-contrast beauty to flourish. Yet, despite the many variations that have followed, the original Siamese remains the gold standard for elegance and temperament. They are the blueprint for the companion cat, proving that a feline can be just as devoted, if not more so, than the most loyal canine. As you conclude this exploration, think of the millions of people throughout history who have sat in the quiet of the evening with a Siamese cat curled nearby. Think of the Thai kings who sought their counsel in the shadows of the palace, and the modern families who find joy in their chatty morning greetings. The emotional legacy of the Siamese is one of connection, They remind us that we are part of a larger, more vibrant world, and that beauty and intelligence are most meaningful when they are shared. They teach us patience, they offer us laughter, and they provide a constant, unwavering presence in an ever-changing world. The story of the Siamese is a story of a diamond gold spirit that refuses to be ignored. They are the moon diamonds of the feline world, bright, sharp, and precious. Whether they are perched on a high shelf looking down with royal dignity or burrowed deep under your blanket seeking warmth, they are exactly where they are meant to be. Their journey from the east to the west and from the temple to the home is a testament to the power of a bond that transcends language and time. To have known a Siamese is to have been part of a grand, ancient tradition of love, loyalty, and the pursuit of a truly elegant life. Their legacy lives on in every blue-eyed gaze and every melodic yowl, a reminder that the most beautiful things in life are those that speak back to us. Good night.